Yeah, still, the idea is to get your main hustle to the point where you don't have to do a side letter.
Good afternoon. My name is Alitra Cheney Prophet. I am the advisor for the Black Student Association here at Butler Community College. The Black Student Association is dedicated to the principles of self-determination, self-awareness, and unity, and strives to unite and educate students of multicultural descent about their cultural heritage. Before I introduce our guests, I'd like to acknowledge our president, Dr. Kim Crow, for creating a campus environment that is inclusive, and to Sherry Connard, our director of first year experience and coordinator of all our student organizations on campus, for her support, as well as our SGA for partnership with this particular program. Welcome to all of you. And without further ado, I'd like to present to you Arise, under the direction of Mr. Sean Chastain. Let's give him a welcome.
Carry spiritual, written before 18, is it on? No. Written before, yes, written before, hi, let me start over. Okay, hi there. Is that Brother Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, sweet. Well, he's my friend. You just heard Arise sing a spiritual that was written before 1862 by an Afro-Indian freedman in the Choctaw County of Choctaw, Oklahoma. See, this is Black history, so y'all gonna get a little smattering of Black history all through this thing. We are Arise, African Americans renewing interest in spirituals ensemble. We have been singing together over 33 years. Is that right, folks? And we're 34 now. We were started by my mother, Josephine Brown. Some of you may know that name from history. That's another Black history right there. That is a Black history. And this song, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, kind of puts you in the mind of, it's got a double message. A lot of our spirituals have two messages. There is the literal message, and then there's the spiritual message of freedom, the Underground Railroad, and the chariot swinging down to take them to freedom. This song was also the official gospel song in Oklahoma by that governor at that time. What was her name? Mary Fallon. They had a woman governor at the time. Can you imagine? But anyway, that's that. So that was Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Our next song that we're going to sing, I think, is Keep Your Lamps Trimmed and Burning. Oh, 100. Yes, we have a very special person that we want to highlight. You all know her well, and we know her just as well, if not better. And we're going to ask her to come at this time. She has sung with Arise in the past. That's why she asked us to come over here and sing for y'all. And so we're going to ask her to come right now. And this is the Old 100 by Alitra Chambers.
Yes, thank you, Miss Sheila. And just so you know, the mic's going to come back to you, Miss Sheila, for a couple verses on Hold On, if you don't mind. But I'm going to start here with Miss Alitra. So, Old 100.
Guide me, O thou great Jehovah, pilgrim through this barren land. Guide me, O thou great I am weak, but thou art mighty. Hold me with thy powerful hand. I am weak, bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more.
is full of sorrows. There are trials on every hand. But God's gonna wipe your tears away. He's gonna lead you to the promised land. And we're gonna pray on children just a little while longer. Pray on just a little while longer. Pray on children a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. You know I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. And we're gonna shout on just a little while longer. Shout on just a shout on children, little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Everything will be. It's gonna be all right.
Thank you, Miss Sheila and Miss Alitra. How about another round for our soloists today? Make sure I have my clicker. Well, you've seen we've done a couple of songs already that we have listed on the program today. Our first spiritual, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, also featured Doc Brock over here on the Brock Booker on the end over here, Mr. Tenor. Thank you, Brock, for leading us so beautifully on that opening Swing Low. A little bit, and Miss Sheila talked to us a little bit about the history of Arise, and I have some bolded underlined text that I'd like for you to repeat, that you can also help say some of these VIPs that we have in here. So again, Arise was founded in 1998 by who, everybody? Miss Josephine Pace Brown. Yes, just a pillar in our region, our community. Arise educates communities and schools on the and you may know, some of you, that spirituals can express what? One's faith, one's path to freedom, and also these are found in lullabies with work songs and folk songs. And you can tell from Miss Sheila's stories, our storytelling is just as powerful as our singing. So, looking ahead, I believe our next selection, if I can move here. Oh, yes, just a couple other pictures of the full ensemble. As you can tell, we have a very select ensemble today. Those that selected to come sing and where their schedules allowed them to be here. So, how about a round for our select ensemble from Arise today? And a couple of the pictures there, the one at the, I believe at your bottom left, was at the State House. We have sung in Topeka, and then the other one there to the right was when we went out of state to Arkansas. So we love to sing in state and in the region as well. This Alitra, I was pressing here, but I'm probably pressing the wrong. I'll let you just double check. And Butler, we are so happy to be here. And Madam President, I'm a Butler parent. I have one Butler graduate and hopefully another one on the way here very soon. Well, our next, she's a senior at Circle High, Elsie Chastain. Someone go after her, all right? Yes. Okay, we're going to try here. Maybe. Oh, it's looking good. We can see it on here. That's the first start. Yes. Okay, yes. And Miss Alitra led us through. Many of us might know the hymn of Guide Me, O Thou Great Jehovah, but we love the rendition and the lining of a hymn that we do see in spirituals there. But our next spiritual is entitled Follow the Drinking Gourd. And before I go any further, you can tell our very important, most important person with the Rise is our accompanist, Miss June Fawcett Huff, who is our wonderful soundtrack, lifelong educator here in this region, and we're just thrilled again to have her at the keyboard. So I believe, yes, Ms. Linda, you want to tell us a little story about Follow the Drinking Gourd?
I love to be volunteered for things. during the slavery time, they had to have a mark for the slaves to follow. You'll find out in this song, the next spiritual that we're going to sing, is giving them direction as to how to get to the north or to freedom. One of the main things that the slaves looked for, or they were told to look for, is the drinking gourd. And as you remember, a gourd is a kind of a pumpkin. It's not good for anything except hollowing it out. And I see pictures on it now, but they hollowed it out and they would drink from it out of the whales. And the follow the drinking gourd. If you notice, if you look in the sky, you'll see a drinking gourd, or you'll see the North Star is the end of the Big Dipper. And that's what they would follow. When they gave them that sign, you look for the drinking gourd, you look for the North Star, you would follow it, and gave them instructions about the trees, the moss on the trees. You be careful of that. You follow the, don't give up, because the mountains are low, the valleys are deep, and there was always somebody on their back. So we're going to sing next, Follow the Drinking Gourd, and listen for the directions that the slaves had to follow.
Dead trees will show you the way. Left foot, pig foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is awake, for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. The river ends between two
And thank you, Grant, for the beautiful solo and leading us through the drinking gourd. So we're going from the sky, sorry to make you dizzy here, but we're going from the sky to the water. And our next selection is entitled Wade in the Water. I'm glad to get your voices warmed up because I know many of you know that chorus here. But let's hear a little bit more about the story first. Wade in the water.
Water is very important to the slave and to us today. Water would serve to nourish, to keep alive, and many times the slave would have to walk long distances to get the water, to bring it back to wherever they were needing it in their homestead. And water in biblical days, we know that the Red Sea was parted so that they could walk through on dry land to get to freedom. Water was important as far as, what else? What am I missing? What am I missing? What? Oh, stir the water, yes. See, this is not my story. I'll just let you know this is not my story. I'm just filling in. I'm the select one. Okay? The woman who does this story is now in Texas, dadgummit. But anyway, yeah, right. Oh, she's signing over there. Hi. Okay. I'll speak a little slower. Yeah, now maybe I can remember. The angel would come down and stir the pool of the water. You know that story from your Bible, Sunday school days. And anyone who would step into the water after the angel had stirred it would be healed of all their diseases. So water is very, very important. And this water, the song is warning slaves that they're traveling along the water's edge of the water, and the slaves could also, the water could hide their tracks. If they're going through the water, if the dogs couldn't follow their scent of their tracks. So the water was very important to the slaves in their escape as well. Gerald Norwood is going to sing Wade in the Water for you today.
Oh, see that host all dressed in white. Their leader, he looks like that Israelite. Oh, see that band all dressed in red. It must be the band that old Moses led. Born and wade in the water, born and wade in the water, children wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, look over yonder and tell me, what do you see? It's the Holy Ghost coming down on me. Now if you don't believe that I've been redeemed, just follow me down to the Jordan stream. Born and wade in the water, born and wade in the water, children wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Whoa. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble. the trouble
Once again, Gerald Nolan on solo, Steve Foster Huff on piano, and the live ensemble. Okay, Michelle, I'm back to keep your lamps. I'm sorry I had that out of order a little bit earlier. If you'd like to tell our audience a little bit about Keep Your Lamps Trimmed and Burning.
Biblically based, it's been speculated that this spiritual is also a coded message song from the Underground Railroad. Here is what we know. In the summer of 1941, a young musicologist at Fisk University by the name of John Work teamed up with a legendary folklorist, Alan Lomax, to do research on the American South. Work and Lomax headed to Mississippi Delta, where they documented the music heard in churches, cotton fields, blues joints. Yeah, that's a fact. They went to the juke joints too, okay? That's color purple right there, okay? The oldest people found in this county, the oldest person was Miss Lucy Adams, 104 years old. Miss Lucy sang this song, which she said was sung to her by her grandfather during slavery days. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning.
Selection, as you can tell by the screen, is entitled Cried and I Cried. It has several additional verses to it. We ask as we partake of it that there might be a verse you'd like to join. It's a very singable piece. You have a story or should we just jump right in?
Let's jump.
Let's just jump right in. Redemption.
Just
some of you have it. We're going to moan this time. Join us if you would. Walk with us vocally. Hearing some wonderful voices out here too. We rehearse the second, third Saturdays of the month at Holy Savior, third Keep and Hearing. We'll see you there. Okay, we're going to move just a little bit to perhaps a century later, but still many of the same messages. We're going to sing in our next component here a couple of our freedom songs, and we're going to need your voices for these. These might be a little more familiar to some, but as our screen says, there might have been a song for freedom against discrimination, against injustice. Perhaps marches took place for safety, or marches took place for jobs, or marches took place just as it mentions for the right to vote. So in that marching spirit, we've just walked and walked. We're going to keep on marching here just a little bit. And this next selection is entitled "Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around." It also has some different verses there too, but this is always the chorus. And singers, we've got just a couple extra verses we're going to add. And invite the audience to join in too. Next verse: discrimination, injustice, no hatred. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around with spirit. Join us. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. Next verse, discrimination. Ain't gonna let discrimination turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let discrimination turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. Injustice. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. Last verse, no hatred. Sing with us. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. The chorus, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom. Thank you also, audience, for singing along with us. Next selection we have is similar also in our civil rights and our freedom songs. One perhaps may be very familiar to this audience is entitled "We Shall Overcome." Also has several verses too, but we'll remind you of how this beautiful melody goes. We'll walk hand in hand. Next verse. We shall overcome. Trebles, treble voices. We are not afraid today. Trebles.
We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today.
Tenor bass voices, tenor bass voices. We shall live in peace.
We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart,
I'm going to give Miss June a break on the last verse. A cappella, everybody join us. We shall overcome. Sing it out.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Beautiful, everybody. You should turn to someone next to you and tell them how great they sounded on that chorus. Such a powerful word, beautiful melody. What a wonderful combination. Okay, our next selection, One Nation, One Dream. I have some text for you to join so you get to know a little bit more about it. Written in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King's speech. What was it, everybody? And that speech was delivered on what day?
August 28, 1963.
And when you look at those powerful images, heard by over how many? So, yes, from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. And this speech was a defining moment of the
American Civil Rights Movement.
So you didn't know you were going to go to school today during lunch too, but you're doing beautifully. And then just some, don't need to necessarily read those out, but just to invite you to reflect on some powerful quotes that came from that incredible speech. One of the components of that speech was when none other than Mahalia Jackson, who Martin Luther King was just in love with her powerful message of spirituals. During his speech, Martin Luther King said, and someone say it,
Tell him about the dream, Mark.
took Martin on another journey, which then put this wonderful speech into history. Well, if you fast forward several decades later, Wichita's own Cherry Dennis Baldwin set this piece to a beautiful text, which we're going to sing today, and Miss Priska Barnes is our tremendous soloist. But there are also powerful words derived from the piece that we've added to sing. Love that will endure, faith that will increase, justice forever reigns. We have, again, some text to add that complements this wonderful song, I Have a Dream, from Martin Luther King's selection here. And the piece, as I was entitled to, as you can see it, is One Nation, One Dream.
I dream of a world where no shadows hide their view, visions of a land where there's hope for me and you. Hand in hand we'll walk until all men are free, living the life of peace in the land of opportunity. Oh, I dream of a world where no shadows hide their view, visions of a land where there's hope for me and you. Hand in hand we'll walk until all men are free, living the life of peace in the land of opportunity. And it's one nation, one dream. Oh, love that will endure, faith that will increase, justice forever reigns. Lift your hand if you believe. Oh, it's one nation, and it's one dream, and it's peace and unity, courage and integrity, freedom, equality. Lift those hands if you believe. And it's one nation, and it's one dream. Oh, and all will have a chance. All men shall be free. Come on and lift those hands if you believe. The number is one. Oh, the number is one. One nation, one dream. Oh, the number is one. Oh, the number is one. One nation, one dream. And is one nation, one dream. And is one nation, one dream, one dream, one nation, one dream.
Barnes, you brought them up, arise in one nation, one dream. We're going to close with one of these selections that's listed on here, entitled Ain't Got Time to Die. And again, Alitra Butler, thank you so much for having us today. Again, we have one final selection, and I have a couple of questions. We're still in school a little bit when we get done. But Gerald, would you like to introduce our final selection here?
Good afternoon again. This final song we're going to do has a lot to do with us today. You know, the lowly slave that was invited here on special guest ships, nothing that they wanted to do, but something they had to do. And when they arrived, they sometimes brought their own religion. Some didn't know about Christianity. Some even worshiped other types of gods. But one thing they had in common was they were good listeners when they were allowed to go to church. Sometimes not a part of the church, but being just there. They were good listeners because they listened to the stories that they would hear in the Bible, the Old and the New Testament. The stories of how Christ in the New Testament talked about love and kindness and taking care of your fellow man. And they couldn't understand why that just position, why the master who owned them didn't feel that he was a hypocrite or she was a hypocrite. But they still held to their listening skills. And you know, neither I nor was a slave, and neither none of you probably owned slaves in the time. And it's an easy way to say, well, I don't have to worry about that. But you know, inherent in slavery, there were certain attributes that were critical that apply to us today. One, that of pride, of being in control, of being jealous, of wanting to have everything your way. Those are the things that are systemic throughout the ages. And if we can work on those things to do better good between our fellow men, we can control things. You see, being able to have slaves was obviously a wrong thing to do. None of us want to participate in it. And it's easy, like I said, to dismiss yourself. But whenever we redesign jurisdictions, that's slavery by another name. Whenever we try to disfranchise someone, that's slavery by another name. That's something we can work on today to make sure that we're not guilty of slavery by another name. See, those ideas don't need to die. They are much more too important that we can work on today. No, you weren't a part of the past history, but you are a part of the day's present that we can prevent ourselves from repeating history. So let us work on those things. The next song we're going to do is called Ain't Got Time to Die. So those ideas ain't got time to die. So let you keep that in mind. So when you leave here today, even though these are old songs, that's something that you can do something about it today to make sure that we don't repeat history again. Lord, I keep so busy praising my Jesus.
Keep so busy praising my Jesus. Keep so busy praising my Jesus. Ain't got time.
'Cause when I'm healing the sick, when I'm healing the sick, when I'm healing the sick, all of my time, praise my Lord, and I don't praise Him. The rocks gonna cry out, glory and honor, glory and honor. Lord, I keep so busy working for the kingdom. Keep so busy working for the kingdom. Keep so busy working for the kingdom. 'Cause when I'm feeding the poor, when I'm feeding the poor, when I'm feeding the poor, all my time, it takes all my time to praise my Lord, and I don't praise Him. The rocks gonna cry out, glory and honor, glory and honor. Lord, I keep so busy serving my master. Keep so busy serving my master. Keep so busy serving my master. Ain't got time. 'Cause when I'm giving my all, when I'm giving my all, when I'm giving my all,
Thank you, Gerald. How about one more round for Arise for being with us today? Our incredible accompanist, June Fawcett. So my question, go ahead and be seated for a minute. We went through quite a bit of selections today in such a short amount of time. And I put those titles back on the screen for you, and just maybe even feedback or something, turn and talk to your neighbor if there's one you'd like to share with the whole group. I think we would just be interested, we just have the privilege and pleasure of presenting these spirituals, but we love to get feedback from our audience. Was there a particular piece that spoke to any of you and why, or maybe virtually if they want to put it in the chat? Don't want to create uncomfortable silence, but would welcome a response from anybody. Was there a particular song, or perhaps a song you knew that you got to hear again today, or that you didn't know? Any song that spoke to anyone today?
How long have we been singing that song? A long time.
It was a great revisiting of that selection. Chances are, yes. That really sums it up, doesn't it? You know, the title of that selection in Arise's mission, that we shall and will overcome. Anything else from the group? Yes. One Nation, One Dream. Isn't that an incredible arrangement? We were blessed with such an outstanding soloist. Those words, the powerful, exactly. One Nation. I'll take one more.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. That's right. That's right. Blessed to have our safety. Oh, in the chat, what do we have? Ain't Got Time to Die came from the chat. Wonderful. And thank you for our virtual listeners today for tuning in. We know that might have been the avenue for you to get to hear us today. And yes, Madam President, close us out.
I was just going to say, what a blessing. Gosh, sakes, you are so wonderful. And just sitting here and listening to this entire selection of songs and stories and the love and heart that goes into it. I'm telling you, my life has been blessed today, and I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to hear you sing again.
And I'm president of Arise. As you can look through our group, you see the diversity, not only the people, the ages and backgrounds, those sort of things. We're going to represent Kansas in May the 27th to the 31st. We're going to join America in singing patriotic songs with lots of other states' representatives from their states. And we're going to continue this idea that we can overcome by nature of working together, that there's nothing that cannot be overcome if we work together. So you will have an opportunity to still see from what your presence here is inspiring us. We will go in and take this to another level, to the national, to try to share with you songs of patriotism that shows that we're all included in working for the interests of each other. I'll tell you where it's going. Washington, D.C., we're going to sing at the Kennedy Center. So,
National Veterans Memorial, right?
yeah.
Well, great to have closing words from both our presidents here today. Glad President's Day is coming up soon, so I'd like to celebrate all of our presidents. Okay, thank you again so much. How about Arise? How about around for our audience too? Weren't they just a fabulous audience with us today, staying the whole time in the comments? I'll let Alicia close us out. Thanks again for having us.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Arise, June. And I would love to acknowledge Carrie Biggs, who is a signer for us. She's awesome. And she's been rocking with me for 2 years now. She did our flutist, our jazz flutist that came for Black History Month, and she's here again. Will be with us next week as well, so thank you so much. Thank you to all. I appreciate you being here. It means the world to us that you want to hear Arise and learn more about our culture. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful and blessed day.
Please have some refreshments for this lecture too.
And Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you. I'm sorry. Thank you.